Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It's been a while since I've come to you live, and I'm not coming to you live right now. I'm recording this because I have a lot to say, and I don't trust myself live. I tend to ramble. So I'm going to see if I can do this taped, and if it works, I'll send it to you. So you tell me at the end, was it worth it? I have a couple of reasons for coming to you today. One on the front end and one on the back end. I'm hoping that you'll share this video after you watch it all the way through. So I'm going to hold like the big reveal to the end. One of the main reasons I'm doing the video. But the first reason that I want you to share this is, as you know, I have a very personal relationship with what's going on in Ukraine right now. As I know many of you do, some of you don't, but many of you do. And, I just want to kind of like give you a heads up about some disinformation that I've seen because of some of my posts that's coming out. I think pretty much from the Russia, China troll bot farms. It's pretty obvious that's where it's coming from. And so there's some disinformation that's out there that, NATO or the United States is dragging on this war, that they don't want peace because they're selling their weapons to Ukraine. And essentially, it's just garbage, man. It's just Russian disinformation. I've also seen it come from China. When I dig into the comments, I see they're mostly fueled by bots, but now sadly they are starting to get amplified a little bit by citizens in this country, as is their intention. So when you see that, I want you to be able to answer to that. That's disinformation. It's not true. We're trying. NATO, the U.S., everyone wants this war to end as quickly as possible. You don't want another child killed, another maternity ward bombed, another hospital bombed. We certainly don't want Russia to use chemical weapons. This has got to end. So I know, a lot of you guys echo that as well, but I wanted to let you know that there is some disinformation out there because I've seen it firsthand on some of my social media sites. A lot of people have asked, why so personal here in Ukraine as opposed to maybe other travesties, let's say it's Syria or, Russia's takeover of Chechnya or, even in the late 90s, the former Yugoslavia. So the reality was back then I wasn't a traveler. And as some of you know, I went to Croatia this summer and, really saw firsthand, was able to put the pieces into a place a little bit more after having traveled to Serbia as well a couple of times to see how that conflict unfolded. And, I'm just blown away by the fact that how unaware I was at the time because I wasn't a traveler and I was, I guess, in my own world. Of course, it was a different time. We didn't have the social media and the internet like we do now. We're relying, mainly on television. But still, my level of ignorance is pretty astounding. So when it comes to this conflict, I'm all in because I've been to so many places that have kind of set up my knowledge base for this, meaning that, I'm fully not aware of everything that goes on, but I'm a little more aware than the average human sitting in front of their computer who's never done the experiences or had the experiences I've had. Case in point, as you guys know, I've been to Ukraine 3 times, once in 2012 before their 2014 revolution, and then twice in 2019, which is why I have these personal connections that I have right now with them. Went to Russia way back in 2010. However, I made some dear friends for life and have also befriended Russians living here in the United States, worked very closely with them after they immigrated here. I visited Chernobyl, so I saw firsthand when I visited Chernobyl in Ukraine just what the ham-fisted, incompetent Russian government is capable of. Of course, they were the Soviet government back then, but it's a lot of the same people. Vladimir Putin was part of the KGB back in the Soviet days, and now he's the president who's causing all this chaos. It's the same people. I also, in Poland, was able to visit Auschwitz, which was a very sobering experience, the concentration camp there, just to see how bad things can get. And the capabilities of humanity, of course, and we've seen it before in places like Darfur. We've seen it since in places like Darfur. One of the most powerful experiences I had was when I went to Russian-occupied Ossetia in the small country of Georgia. I hung out with my buddy George when my friend Cynthia and I went there, and we saw, the actual occupied territory. We talked to displaced refugees who can't go home. George himself had relatives that were killed during the conflict. He fought in the conflict, and his vineyard was taken over by the Russians, his family vineyard. And that just changes everything, man, when you talk to people who have firsthand issues like that. As I said, I went to Russia, and I have several friends that are Russians. Right now, I am trying to help someone who is thankfully out of Russia. They were able to get out, but they're in Europe, but they've got to relocate because there's a lot of anti-Russian sentiment. They were getting harassed this past summer while they were in Russia. I'm not going to give many details other than to say, well, I just can't say, but they were targeted by the Russian government as being troublemakers, rabble-rousers. They were not. They were artists. But, you know, they sent me an email and I knew trouble was coming to them. They were able to get out, thank goodness, and now I'm trying to help them get to find a permanent home. So think about that. They're going to be exiles living far away from the rest of their family and friends. It's not going to be pleasant. And of course, you know my friend Anastasia, who was my cinematographer for Lithuania, in Ukraine, and then most recently in Portugal. And she was already a refugee and an exile, and is still exiled. So because of these experiences, it does give me a lot of personal grief. Like I said, travel can be a double-edged sword. You care more, that's a good thing, but it hurts more. And it does hurt. But I'm trying to do what I can to help. We're going to be coming out with shirts to raise some money. I saw today on the news that they need tourniquets. That they're in Lviv. They've set up a medical distribution center where I went to Lviv in 2019. It's far from the war, thankfully, right now. Relatively safe and quiet. And they need tourniquets. So I'm thinking, maybe we can sell some shirts, get some tourniquets. And then I'm going to go to the border. If I can get into Ukraine, I will go into Ukraine and document this for a show coming up in season 10, or maybe even this season, season 9. Which brings me to the big reveal. And the big reveal is this: if you've been listening so far, kind of wanted to make you work for it. It's not that big of a deal, but next year is our 10th season. We'll get to 200 episodes. We have 170 in the can right now. I'm working on episode 171. But by the end of next season, which will be fall of 2023, not this fall, but the next fall, that will be 200 episodes. And I'm going to gracefully step off the stage, stage right, stage left, whatever it is, and stop producing originals at that point. And so I just want to let you guys know first, because you're social media, you're the core fans, and thank you for all your support over the years. There'll be plenty of time for that. I still have 30 more episodes to produce, so the finish line is far away, but I do see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm really happy I'm going to be able to reclaim my life a little bit after this pause. But it's just been an incredible experience. And, I'm asking you for your help now because if you can help spread this video, as I said, season 10 is going to be our last season. I want it to be my best season ever. I really want to cover some issues that most travel shows don't. Really want to do some things and take advantage of this history that's happening. It's miserable. I wish it weren't happening. I'd much rather just have a great travel experience, but I cannot glibly travel the world and pretend all this misery is not happening to my neighbors and friends while I'm out having a good time. I'm just not wired like that. And if that's the show you want, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to deliver that. What I will be able to deliver will be a show that is a lot like life itself. It's full of some happiness, some sadness. It doesn't run away from the tragedy or the pain. It acknowledges it firsthand, and we try to help alleviate it and get through it together by loving each other. And that's what I want to do with this show in season 10. And I want you to help me if you can. How? Well, you can start by the fact that I want to go to the Polish-Ukraine border. Obviously, I have some contacts, but I don't really have a lot of solid ideas right now. So if you know anyone, or if you can spread this video to someone who can, hit me up with ideas. I've been to you guys before when I was doing an RV road trip or something. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Man, just hit me up with ideas. I just need as many ideas as I can so that when I get there, I can do as much good as possible. What are those ideas? I don't know. If you know of someone helping at a refugee camp, I know there's some refugee camps in Portugal where we just filmed, where Doreen just sent me an email or a text from WhatsApp telling me what she's doing. There's several things that I know we can do, but I'm looking for that really personal connection. And the only way I can get this information is if you guys send it to me. The other way you can help us is a more long-term thing throughout season 10. I'm going to be doing the best I can to be filming, producing, doing the things that, ensure that this will be our best season ever, I hope. And so that we can go out, I can feel good about what I did, left it all on the field kind of thing. If the station isn't airing the show at a proper time slot, don't email me, email them. Let them know that you're missing the show, because it actually helps. When you email me, it gets me in a tizzy, and then I may or may not be able to email them. There's really not much I can do because, of course, every producer wants their show in a better time slot. But what carries more weight are the viewers. And so if you're expressing concerns directly to them, it's going to mean a lot more. I'm not saying you can't comment to me. I appreciate those heads up. I really do. But there's not much I can do. There's way more that they can do. And if you don't know who to contact, you can let me know and I'll let you know who you can contact. Little things like that really means a lot. Your encouragement has always meant a ton. We, of course, get trolls, bots, just negative people all the time for whatever reason. And they bother me more than they should. But the reality is that 99.9% of everything is just so positive, and I'm just so grateful for you guys for that. And, there'll be time for goodbyes and all that stuff later. That's so far away, I can't even really think about it. It's like a trip that's a year and a half away. It's like, how can you get excited about it? I'm not excited about it yet. We got to get there, right? A lot of things can happen between now and then, as we see in the world. So, thank you for all your support. I wanted to put the context of, my personal feelings about Ukraine into a little more personal context for you guys. If you're looking to escape all that stuff, again, I don't know what to tell you. We're not escapism. That's not what Raw Travel is about. Raw Travel is raw. It's real. It is confronting the world on its terms. And the world is not always as beautiful and lovely as we want it to be, but we can work really hard to make it better and a nicer place. And that's what Raw Travel is about. It will always be, regardless of what happens in the world. I stay firm to my mission. I know who I am. I am not changing. I am changing all the time, but I'm not going to change what I consider to be my moral foundation and background. That's going to stand solid, and everything else is evolving, as we always do, right? So thank you again. Really do appreciate all you did, and I hope I didn't screw this video up. It's longer than I meant. You're probably not even going to watch it, but if you do, please comment, please spread it. Thank you so much. And be wary of that disinformation out there. Call it out. Don't let it happen. I've reported it to social media. Nothing so far. They seem to be content because I guess it drives a lot of traffic. So it's up to us to police ourselves. Thanks, guys.